Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. My name's David. Thanks for being a part of my channel. Today I'm going to talk about the power of intention. Intention sometimes is the one thing that goes undone, unnoticed, and boy, it is the most powerful thing ever. When it comes to creation, it comes from three parts: desire, intention, and allowing. Eventually surrender. But desire is automatically coming out. It's a vibrational. As Abraham Hicks would say, it's just always coming out. What you don't want, you're creating that what you do. It just is. You're filling in the gaps of your life based on the contrast. Now, source answers, that bigger part, that bigger perspective is always moving with us and sending back to us the answers and solutions of everything that we want. But we don't always receive it. That's that allowing part. And the reason we don't receive it is because of the intention. We need to set our intention in order to receive it. Now, before we go there, let's talk about two different perspectives. I want you to find this inside you, if you could, with me. You have a perspective of who you are. We've talked about this as the broader perspective or the source perspective of love, of joy, of flow. It's who I really am. I'm abundant, I'm opulent, I'm beautiful. Can you feel that part of you? Who do you want to be? That's the perspective that's going to come out of that every single time. Who do I want to be? I want to be this, you see. Now you also have this outside perspective. Now the outside perspective is coming from what's coming back to you. It's what you see in others. It's what you see in the world. That feeling of, here I am here, this is me, I'm David, but look at all of these people and all of these different perspectives out there that seem to be different than me. That's your outside perspective. Can you feel it? They believe this and they believe this. And now we have arguments and boy, we have judgments and then even physical fights and so forth and so on. This disagreement, this idea of these two worlds that don't agree. Now, the truth is that world out there is coming from you. It doesn't exist except in your mind. However, that could be difficult to see. And I get that. That's the idea of taking it by faith. So now, can you feel those two perspectives? I think you can, right? Now take that outside perspective of all those different people and all those different personalities, and boy, it's coming from past and potential future. It's coming from everywhere, but it is an outside world. And now put it into one perspective and call it your outside mind. That's the mind activity. Always taking you to the past, always trying to figure things out, always trying to solve problems and so forth and so on. Do you see? That's that outside mind. I call it my outside mind. Now you have two. The outside mind, can you feel it? It lives in you. It's judging everything. It knows everything. It has intellect. It has experience. It has all these different ideas and meanings. And it lives in you. Can you feel it? Now you can give it different people's faces, but just take a second and recognize it is just one perspective. We would call it an outside perspective. Now, recognize the inside perspective of your source, of who you really are, the permanency of your being, which is only love, joy, fun, excitement. Can you see? And they don't agree, do they? Not all the time. That outside and inside, we would call that. Now, that's important because now let's go somewhere else for a second. Hold on to that. This world is neutral. The key to experiencing physical reality, why it's so amazing, is that what you put out is what you get back. You get to experience everything. We hear this all the time, that everything's supposed to flow and you can do and have and be anything you want. But it doesn't feel like it. But that's the truth. What you put out is what comes back, what you put out, what comes back. So, the world is neutral. You must give it meaning. This is law. Every second of your life, in this present moment, you must give every single thing meaning. If I take my little guy here, I can't experience this until I give it meaning. I have to give it some kind of meaning. It is neutral. You see? And if I didn't know what it was based on the past, I wouldn't even understand what it was itself. So, can I convince you that what's happening is that we're walking around the world and giving it the meaning, because we must give it meaning. It is our creations in that moment. It has no meaning of its own. None. It's an effect. What meaning you give it is what's going to come back. But we are giving it meaning based on this outside mind. And once again, if you can separate it for a second, that ego mind, that outside perspective, And then now, think about it. As you're walking around the world, you're giving it meaning from this outside perspective that lives inside you, and then getting it back in the form of a reflection, not knowing it's coming from you. And it causes commotion. You're creating it and then judging it, creating it and then judging it, and that causes resistance. Does that make sense? Because it's coming from us. The law says what goes out comes back. There is no other way. That's why understanding the laws of the universe is the savior to your life. If you see something out there that doesn't agree with you, it is coming from you. It cannot come from anywhere else. It is an effect of you. And that's important. If it's something you really want, you enjoy, and you love, and you appreciate, and, oh man, this person has everything, and I want this from that, it's coming from you. The meaning, which is everything of every single meaning, the form is nothing without meaning. We've talked about that before, is coming from you. It is a journey of you. If you look at the yin and yang, we put on one side the inner perspective of who we really are. On the other side, we put the outer perspective. Now we create opposites: good, bad, abundant, lackful. You see, beautiful, ugly, skinny, or good looking, fat, whatever it is. They seem to be opposites. That's the idea of the yin and yang. Is a long time ago they realized there was an outside perspective that lived inside them, and there was an inside perspective that was always there. Permanency, temporary. The other thing about the outside perspective is that it's always looking for some kind of separation. It is designed to find a difference between the outside world and the inside perspective of who it is. So therefore, it is consistently, people will argue and defend and justify. You ever notice that? Forever, to try to tell you how you're different than them, or what they believe about you is not what they believe about themselves, or is that what you have is not what they have. Do you see? We will argue all day long, and it's not true. What you put out must come back, and that is in every second, every second, every second. You're giving meaning to your life. Now, this outside mind is also based on the whole argument that we hear so much of survival. It is always believing everything's separate, so therefore it's trying to protect and fight off things, the fight or flight response. There's a feeling of survival mode. We've had argument after argument over the years of the idea of evolution and the idea of Darwinism and so forth and so on, and we're the survival of the fittest. It's not true. This inside perspective understands that everything is part of it. Everything is flowing from within it. It was only one. Now, that's what we're talking about these days. People are starting to understand there's another perspective. But we can't get there by using outside perspective, and that's the answer to everything. Recognize this outside perspective. Recognize it is judging your life. Recognizing that it is giving meaning to your creations in the moment automatically because of not using the power of intention. And then it comes back in the form of a reflection, and then it pushes against us. Make sense? Now let's talk about the inner perspective. If it is true, and I assure you that it is, that you are and must, according to the law of creation, give meaning to everything as you experience it, and whatever you give the meaning, whatever meaning you give it is what you experience, then why would you not give meaning of joy or fun or love or joy and be one with your creations, one with your outside, and move and flow with it? Of course you would. You see? That's the way life works. You give it meaning, you experience it back. It becomes your truth and your experience, and therefore no one else gets to really truly understand it in the way that you do, because it's your experience. You're the one who gave it meaning, and you're the one who got to experience it back. But we have a choice. We can either give it the meaning of our outside mind, or we can give it the meaning of our inside perspective. Those are the only two choices we'll ever have. If I can convince you, that's it. And if we keep on giving it the meaning of the outside mind and that separation and those problems, it's going to continue and get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, because we've been judging our life unknowingly, for the most part, based on this outside perspective that lives inside of us, it is very active. And that's the problem in all the separation and the bad and so forth and so on that you see out there. But the more you let go of it, it will fade away. And then now you have an inside perspective only. And that's the journey of awakening. Inside only. Inside only. This one's got to go. Now, how do we do it? By setting intentions. By one, recognizing this exists. And two, not going to it. By recognizing this is important. If you walk out in the world and say, let's see what happens, outside perspective. If you walk out and you see something different, outside perspective. If there's a judgment or a dislike or some kind of blame or guilt, outside perspective. So we have to become very diligent at intention, setting intention. Abraham Hicks would always say, get ahead of it. Set your vibration on purpose. Talk about how good you are. Bring out that part of you first and foremost. I am awesome. Everything's good. All is well. There's only this moment, and I want to feel good, and I want to see what happens, and I want to be excited about the outside. I want to be excited about what's coming in. I want to love and appreciate the outside. I want to feel good about the outside. I want to move in the direction of my excitement and my passion and recognize I'm supposed to feel good and recognize things are supposed to be wonderful. That's the beginning step. We've talked about that. Those concepts, those talks. It doesn't have to be just quieting the mind. It could just be moving in the direction of what feels good, what feels good, what feels good. Now, how do we maintain that? By setting intentions in each moment. By saying, I have an intention. I love this one. I intend to see that which is good. I intend to feel good. I intend to enjoy what's coming in. I have an intention to see that which is wanted. I'm going to believe that everything is flowing to me for a purpose of good and joy. I'm going to intend to see only beauty in this. When whatever I'm looking at, I'm going to find only the beauty. Whatever I'm looking at, I'm going to find only the good. Whatever I look at, I'm going to find only the joy. You see, remember, it's that yin and yang of recognizing these two are the same. They're just two different perspectives, but they're not separate. And you get to decide which one you see. And whichever one you decide is the one that's going to come back to you. Do you see? Sometimes I'll be in the middle of a conversation in my mind. I'll say, I intend to see only the beauty in this person. I intend to see only the goodness in this person. I intend to see only that which I want. As I pick up my food, I intend to see and to feel only the deliciousness of this. It's not coming from the people and the object. That is so important. It's coming from the meaning you are giving it. Your life is coming from the meaning you are giving it. You can only give it meaning based on these two parts of you. The more you get that, the more you will only choose one. You'll let go of this one. This one is based on survival of the fittest. It wants to fight. It wants to find separation. Doesn't want to like. This one loves and enjoys. This one knows that every single person is bringing you messages of who you are and your journey, and all particularly placing into your journey for a purpose. You see? That everything is flowing in. Every single person is a messenger of your source, is a messenger of what you're asking for. They're bringing in clarity. They're bringing in the idea of clarity and expansion. You see, there's nothing to argue about, ever. If I don't agree with it, I don't look at it. No big deal. I'll find something I like. Can you imagine? I'm only looking at what I like. I'm only looking at what is good. I'm only looking at what I want to receive. Remember, the goal is to turn that receiving, that allowing part of us so we can experience our life again and stop trying to push against and give or take. I don't like that. I do like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Can you see the split? Instead of just, I like that, ignore the rest. I like that, ignore that. I like that, ignore that. We've been told, don't ignore what doesn't work for you, you'll get bigger. No, that's not true. If you focus on it, it gets bigger. And then you create a split. You focus on the things you like, you focus on the things you don't, you focus on the things you like, you focus on the things you don't. Can you see how that works? And now we're feeding both minds. Yeah, you're feeding that part of you that loves, enjoys, but you're also feeding that outside perspective, and now you have a split inside you, and that's what mind activity comes from. I really want that money. Well, I don't know. Last time you did this. Do you see? Now they're both active. Well, I really like this dress. I like the way my hair looks. I don't know. This and right here, part of you doesn't look really good. What if someone doesn't like it? Can you see the argument going on between these two minds? They don't agree. They never will. Ever, ever, ever. It is up to each one of us to let go of this one. It's the only way to only feed this one. So go forth, set your intention. See how much you can say to yourself, I will see only the beauty. I will see only the good. I intend, use that. My intention is to feel good. My intention is to find something good in this. My intention is to only find who I am in this. My intention is only to see the inner being perspective of who I am in this. And I'm going to ignore anything else. And as you stop feeding that other perspective of you, I assure you it will go down. And other people will start reflecting back only the one perspective of you as this one dies out. But the more you recognize that perspective, the more it will continue coming in your life. If there's pain, no problem. I allow it in. Everything is good. I intend to find only the positivity in it. I intend to only find positivity in this experience. If you have a past experience that's still gnawing on you, I intend to only find the positivity in it. I will not look anymore at what didn't work. I'm only going to look at what did. I'm only going to receive the clarity. I'm only going to receive the good. I'm going to sit back and I know Source's perspective there. I'm only going to find what's good. I'm only going to find what's good. I'm only going to find the beauty in this. I'm only going to find what works in this. I'm only going to find what flows in this. Can you see? Why not? What do you got to lose? And then you will train yourself over and over to go there quicker and quicker and quicker. And before long, now, instead of that part of you that says, what am I going to find that's missing? It's going to say, what am I going to find that's there? What am I going to find that's there? And this one just disappears. Why? Because your power of intention. I intend to find only that which is good. Like Abraham Hicks would say, I'm no longer even going to look at the other side until it's gone. Does that make sense? Take that with you. I hope it helps. As always, it's wonderful to receive your comments. Keep them coming. Much love to all of you. If you like this, hit the like button and subscribe. Until next time, my unconditional love and appreciation.